AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. You need the right person with the right background who can move your business forward. If you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed Sponsored Jobs. With Indeed Sponsored Jobs, your post stands out to quality candidates who actually fit the role. According to Indeed data, 90% are more likely to be hired and trusted by 1.6 million companies. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. Now with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/Podcats13. Just go to Indeed.com/Podcats13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/Podcats13. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed.
Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy Holiday.
Trojan family, what's up? Welcome back to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Thank you, as always, for making this a part of your day. 5 more hourglasses were posted early this morning, signifying 5 more re-signings for USC for the 2026 season. All 5 have now been disclosed, so we want to get into that, evaluate where they fit within the roster, and kind of future outlook of who could be next. Well, obviously, we know these are going to now be released kind of a little bit every day, and if there's any surprises. Today we had a little bit of the surprise departures. I talked earlier. Video you can find here on the USC LAFB channel. Make sure you're subscribed. You're always getting the updates. But Devin Tompkins and Walker Lyons departing for the transfer portal. So we'll see if any of the other big names that I have listed here are kind of on the fence. We'll see. So the 5 that have re-signed, and I'll say all 5 and then we'll get individually. Tobias Raymond, offensive lineman. Chasen Johnson, defensive back. Romero Ison, freshman receiver. Jahkeem Stewart, freshman defensive lineman, very important. And Kendarius or Dee Reddick, defensive back, also a true freshman. So the question kind of will be is, are they going to announce every single re-signing or just kind of guys that they are viewing as impact potential starters? I would lean more into that version, but we'll see. We'll see how many continue to get announced every single day. So let's start at the top. Tobias Raymond. This arguably, after Jaden Maiava, may be one of the most important re-signings going into next season. I think Tobias Raymond he is the most versatile offensive lineman on this team. We saw him play all over the offensive line this year, from right tackle to left guard to left tackle. He's done it all. So his versatility is obviously a weapon to use. I think he's best suited at left guard if he's able to kind of play there for the entire year. If they can get some continuity there and stay healthy on the offensive line, obviously that's a big thing. But in a pinch, that versatility is such a benefit to have at your disposal. And so what he was able to do and how they were able to utilize him really made this unit one of the better offensive lines in the Big Ten, even though they suffered so many injuries. I mean, every team had injuries, right? But this USC offensive line had one of the most offensive line combinations used over the entirety of college football. So what, Coach Hansen was able to do, but also just give credit to these guys and specifically to Tobias Raymond for that versatility where he was able to just say, okay, I'll play over here today. Okay, I'm here this game. But I think he's best suited at guard, and if he can actually stick there for the entirety of a season, I think we'll see him continue to get better and better and better and end up ultimately being a pretty high draft pick in the NFL. So this was a major signing, one that I expected, so not like surprise, but one, you want to see it happen because the ones this morning were a little surprising, the departures. So great to see. So now you have anticipating what the starting 5 offensive linemen going into the offseason. Again, it'll be a competition. A lot of these young guys, I think, are going to compete for starting roles. I've talked about that a bunch. But with the anticipation of who the starting 5 are, you now have 3 locked in. Tobias Raymond, your left guard. You have Killian O'Connor, your center, and Justin Tawanu'u, your right tackle. So we're still waiting for the confirmation of right guard Alani Noah and left tackle Elijah Page. So we will see if those do officially or if they are not going to be back with USC. Again, I don't anticipate them not being back. I anticipate them being back is an easier way to say that. But time will tell. So we'll see what that looks like. But hopefully you get those 2 locked in, and then your starting 5 going into the spring is at least set. And then, hey, if someone beats those guys out, great. Then that's just competition, and that just shows how talented some of these younger guys are, or if they went and got a portal guy for competition as well. So, but yeah, Tobias Raymond, huge. Chasen Johnson, I like this one a lot. Transferred over from UCF. Trevon Reed, his position coach, who came from UCF, cannot speak higher about a guy. Just speaks so high about him as a person, as a student athlete, but obviously as a skill set and as a cornerback. He was projected to be one of the starting corners, got banged up in fall camp, got banged up early in the year, and then ended up having season-ending injury that kept him out the entirety of the year. So we really didn't see him hardly at all. I think he played a few snaps early on. But this is a guy that's super talented. The outlook of this team could have maybe been different had he stayed healthy, and you could say that for lots of teams, that their starters get injured, right? That's nothing new to college football. But he was certainly going to be a high-impact player that because he got hurt and other injuries, USC was forced to play 2 freshmen on the boundaries for the most part. Obviously, you did have, some veteran presence there with DeCarlos Nicholson, but certainly forced to kind of rotate with Marcellus Williams and Braylon Conley until Williams really took over that starting role. So Chasen Johnson re-signed, if fully healthy, will go into the year slotted as one of the starters. Again, if he gets beat out or whatever, that's just competition, but I think he is expected to be a high-impact starting player on the boundary there. Romero Ison, re-signed freshman. The fact that they announced this, I think, tells you how highly he is regarded within the coaching staff and within the rest of the team on the practice. We didn't see him really at all on game days, at least in the offensive capacity. But the fact that this is announced shows that they view him as a guy that will have an impact next year. Does have a lot of talent, a lot of speed. And so someone, pair with like Tinnick Hines in the same class. We'll see about Corey Sims if he's ultimately ends up being back with the Trojans. But Romero Ison, a really good one. Jahkeem Stewart, no surprise at all. This was the, I think you say this was the prize get of the 25 class. Obviously who saw in Longstreet, the 5-star quarterback. And there's a lot of, talk about that, what's going to happen with Jaden Mayava coming back, which I've talked about a bunch, but Jahkeem Stewart was such an impact player as a freshman with a stress fracture in his foot the entire year and was still so explosive and dominant for the few reps that he got every single game. So imagine him at full strength. Imagine him with the full offseason, and imagine him actually practicing during the week. Just how good this guy is going to be. So no surprise, but this was an absolute okay, make sure this, don't mess this up. This is a guy that needs to be here. He dropped as they've been doing with some of the signings, some of the guys they talk about, why they want to be a Trojan, why they're back. And, he's so wise behind his ears. Remember, this guy's should be still a senior in high school. He should be going into the final semester of high school. And instead he's finishing his first semester of college. And oh yeah, he didn't play his final high school season because of, transfer rules. So limited high school reps, young beyond, already super young coming in, and was still as good as he is. And so he just talked about like, hey, I'm a Trojan for life. Like, I see what we're building here. They told me, Coach Riley told me, they need me to be here to help lay the framework and help build this thing out. And that's what I intend to do. So Thanos, no surprise, but back, which is, I think he's already a fan favorite, will be a fan favorite. And I said it last couple videos ago. If he can enter the season fully healthy, I think he will win the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Just putting it out there right now. As a true sophomore, I think he's that good.
This is Michael Rosenbaum. Hey, folks, let me tell you that drinking and driving is a decision that will change your whole world. Things will never be the same once you get a DUI, because legal fees and time in court are just the beginning. Getting into a crash is another way your world could be irreversibly changed after drinking and driving. Your vehicle may not be the only thing that gets damaged in that crash. You could face a life-altering injury or even death. But you're not the only one who could face those consequences. Your decision to drink and drive could permanently change someone else's world, whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving. The next time you're out drinking, call a rideshare, a taxi, a sober friend, or a designated sober driver. Always plan for a safe ride home. The only decision that will change your world for the better is the decision to call for a sober ride. It's never worth it to drive drunk. Don't risk it. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
And finally, Dee Reddick. This one is great news because there was, I don't think there was speculation that he would be gone, but there was a little more maybe unknown, especially after seeing, Stephen Miller end up hitting the portal, and just all the kind of unknown around the defense in general of kind of the evaluations of how this coaching staff did. But we saw the upside of him, and we saw the development throughout the year and the playing time go up as the season went on. And, I look back to that Illinois game when, because of Kamari Ramsey being out with food poisoning, they had to turn to Kevin Longstreet to be kind of the starting nickel corner, which was kind of unfair to him. Just, I don't know if he was ready for that moment. And it was just getting burned, and all the defense was getting burned. But then, in that second half, they threw Dee Reddick, true freshman, out there to play some nickel. And there was some improvement there for a raw guy that is still learning on the job as a true freshman. Came in kind of more as a safety and transitioned more to kind of corner / nickel. Like I said, DBs on USC, that's the versatility. But just saw him get better and better and get more and more reps as it went on. So clearly they have a plan for him, clearly a bright future with USC, and clearly they view him as someone that can certainly compete for a starting role in this secondary. Which is great because there's a lot of talent in the secondary now. It's young. That's been the issue really for 6 months, is it's a young, inexperienced team and defense specifically. So again, we'll see what they do in the portal to address that issue, but the talent is there. The talent and the skill set is absolutely there. It's about getting some experience to go alongside. So the hope was Chasen Johnson would now be going into like year 3, but after missing a whole year, even he is still fairly inexperienced. Obviously played his freshman year at UCF and was a, all conference player, but what's the recourse there after missing a whole year? So we'll see what that looks like going forward, but Dee Reddick, absolutely a huge, I don't want to say acquisition, but it's just huge news that he will be back, because I think he is a really talented player that the staff is super excited about. So there's your 5 that were announced. More will be coming, I'm sure, every day. So we'll jump on here, break it down, how it fits within the roster, and then how that ends up alluding to kind of the transfer portal. So some of the guys we're still waiting on. I already mentioned the offensive line, Alani Noah, Elijah Page. I said I think both Miller brothers, Kalen and King Miller, they'll do something special together. Kind of a fun announcement with both of them, because remember, they were walk-ons. So they'll get not only like a NIL licensing deal, but also a scholarship. They'll probably be scholarship athletes. So expect that to happen and them to be here. But we'll wait on that. We're still waiting on Jahdae Abasiri. I think that's a super important one. That would be one that I think would be unfortunate if he ends up entering the portal. So hopefully we'll hear from him. Floyd Boucard, fully expect him to be resigning, but we haven't heard yet. We'll see. Cameron Crawford, another one that definitely think he needs to be back. They already signed Braylon Shelby. So if you have Crawford and Shelby as your two starting edges going in, I think that's a really good move. And then with the depth behind them. So we'll wait to see Crawford. And then Desmond Stevens, whatever anyone thinks, we'll see what happens with that and with him if he is going to be announced as re-signing. And finally, Kennedy Urlacher, who ended up getting some starting reps out of necessity due to some injuries on the back end. So those are kind of your starting caliber guys we're waiting to hear, and we'll see when those come down the pike. But you can never sleep covering USC. There's always something going on, which is great. If you're a content creator, if you cover the team, it's great if you're a fan of the team because there's always something to talk about. So there is no offseason. We got this. The portal now opens up in just about 2 weeks. We've got recruiting still in full swing. I've got 2 recruiting videos that we'll see if I drop them both tonight or maybe one tonight, one tomorrow, or maybe both tomorrow. Plenty of stuff. It's great. It's fantastic. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. 3 to 4 videos every day we're doing, and we're going to keep that up and keep growing and keep getting this thing better. I'm going to start, doing a little bit more production side on the videos to, maybe make it more eye-catching. You're not just staring at this ugly, bald face of mine for 10 to 15 minutes every time. But, those things take time. So it's at this point, there's so much news. I'd rather get that out and hopefully able to direct that to you. To me, I feel like that's a little more valuable than a little higher production value, but then there'd be less content. But eventually that will be coming. So just letting you guys know, we will up the production value here. So you're not just staring into my baby blues for 10 to 15 minutes. But appreciate you all. And yeah, plenty more coming. So as always, fight on. Hey, Trojan family, thank you so much for hanging out and watching the USC LAFB show. Before you go, let me tell you quickly about our friends over at Sleeper. Go right now, download the Sleeper app. It's the #1 sports app, not just for season-long fantasy, but they've got live pickers, they've got live stat updates, they've got a chat you can chat with other users, plus the daily pick'em, which is a blast, or daily fantasy, whatever you want to call it. You go and pick 2 to 8 players across any sports. If you're talking USC, go choose J.D. Maiava in his next matchup. Pick more or less passing yards, more or less touchdowns. You stack those, and you can win real money. When you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code USCLAFB. You're going to get a match deposit up to $100. Put in $100, you get $100 free to play with from Sleeper. Put in $10, they'll match you that $10. So now you're sitting at $20 to play with. But also right now, for any new users, no deposit required. You get $20 free entry. You can stack both. You can get the $20 for free. Go make a deposit. Use USC LAFB. And now you've got a bunch of free money to play with right there on the Sleeper app. Check it out, Trojan family. And when you do, tell them the guys at the USC LAFB sent you.
Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday. If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.